Back in 2006, Donald Trump had what appears to be, to me, a fairly controversial opinion about the possibility of a housing market crash. Let's listen.
There's a lot of talk, which you no doubt heard too, about a so-called real estate bubble. What's your take on that pessimism?
Well, first of all, I sort of hope that happens, because then people like me would go in and buy. You know, if you're in a good cash position, which I'm in a good cash position today, then people like me would go in and buy like crazy. If there is a bubble burst, as they call it, you can make a lot of money.
So I'm going to actually talk about both sides of this. So as a business person, I understand what he's saying completely. Like, you want to buy low, you want to sell high. At that point in time in 2006, Trump said in that interview that he was cash heavy, meaning like at that point he did not have a lot of real estate ventures. He was more liquid. So he wouldn't get hurt in a real estate crash, and he'd have all this cash ready to buy when it goes low. So
when has he ever said he wasn't cash flooded?
Right. Well, that's true.
He
but
also,
actually,
by the way, he created some corporation to do more investment in real estate the year of the crash. So let's not give him too much credit for knowing what's going to happen.
Oh, no.
It's hard to remember. I know he has such a long list of failed enterprises, but that was one.
Yeah, and let's also remember that in that interview, he said, I don't think it's going to crash. He was totally wrong.
That's true, yeah.
He was totally wrong, okay? But remember, he actually doesn't have a lot of real estate ventures anyway, right? That's
true.
part of the reason why he wasn't in real estate, is because nobody would lend him money to go into real estate. The only thing he ever does is sell his name, and they put it on buildings, but other people build it. So that's part of why he didn't have money in there. But from a business perspective, I get why he wants to buy low. But it is, on the other hand, perfectly emblematic of how little they care about you, right?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, but dude, if you're going to buy low, that means disaster struck millions of people. But to him, who cares? They're not the Donald. Why would I care about people who are not the Donald? Like, he's so self-obsessed. But it's also not just Donald Trump. It's emblematic of a certain attitude among the powerful that, like, hey, man, I buy low, I sell high. You're the sucker who bought the stock when I was already out of it without telling you, right? I was already shorting the housing market when I found out that we were about to crash it. Yep. Like, all my fraud is what was going to crash the housing market. But luckily, since I had the insider info, I already knew that, and I shorted it at your expense.
Yeah.
So, like, if you saw The Big Short, I don't blame the guys who shorted it who were not involved in the housing market. They were just savvy businessmen. In a lot of ways, I think that made a ton of sense, and I respect them for making the right call. And by the way, warning everybody. They weren't quiet about it. They said, this thing's going to crash. Everybody be careful. This thing's. But if you're the one who fixed the housing market to crash and then you bet against it, that's a different ballgame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in this case, Trump didn't rig the market. He didn't even know what the hell's going on. His main thing is he's a clown. He really is grossly incompetent, has no idea what he's doing. But the fact that he doesn't give a damn at all, and if you watch The Big Short again, there was a great moment where Brad Pitt tells the two guys celebrating after they made a great deal. Mm-hmm. Guys, remember, yes, you're going to get, it looks like you're going to get incredibly rich, but that's going to be because a lot of people are going to be suffering, so don't celebrate, right? Trump never got that talking to. Like, if you're suffering and he has gained because of it, he's going to celebrate.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about you at all.
And think about how many people who are currently supporting him lost their homes because of the housing crash, or lost their jobs because of it. I mean, look, there's all sorts of figures that we could throw. Literally lost their lives, by the way, because people did commit suicide as a result of the financial hardship caused by the housing market crash. We could throw a lot of numbers around. We're just going to give you one to sum it up. The 2008 stock market crash destroyed $16.4 trillion of American households' net worth from 2007 through 2009. It wiped out more than $2 trillion of Americans' retirement savings. And that was something that he's like, I kind of hope it happens. You know what? It'll be good for me. Doesn't matter if it ruins millions of Americans' lives, breaks up their marriages, causes their kids stress that'll last the rest of their life. If it sends a bunch of people who are already retired to the poorhouse, or they die because they can't afford the medicine they need or something like that, it might make some more money.
You know, it was certainly bad for the normal American and the retired person who lost all that money in their retirement savings and stuff. I mean, it was bad for them. But the bankers really took it on the chin too. I mean, I don't think. I mean, they had to. Remember how hard they had to complain to make sure they kept getting their bonuses after they crashed the economy? They had to complain really loudly, and they got them.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Why this power establishment just doesn't get how angry the country is.
They do not get.
Because they think like, yeah, but those guys, they literally think this. You think like, no, they can't really think it. No, but they genuinely believe, but they had to get their bonus. What were the poor guys going to do? I'm serious. And the reason they think that is because the people they know get huge bonuses. So they view that as like, wait, I know if I don't get my huge bonus, I don't know how I would pay for my kid's private school and how I would afford the great house that I live in, right? So, those bankers, well, they got to get the bonus. That's not fair if they don't get the, but they crashed their banks.
Yeah.
They destroyed their businesses. You don't get a bonus in capitalism if you destroyed your business. That's not capitalism. So what did I just tell you earlier? Hey, if you're a smart and savvy guy and you shorted the market and you didn't have anything to do with it, I hear you, brother, okay? That's capitalism. Crashing and destroying pulverizing your business and get a bonus for it is not capitalism. That just means you bought all the politicians and you got bailed out anyway.
That's crony capitalism.
That's crony capitalism. So that 0.1%, they didn't get hurt by the crash. In the beginning, they panicked. They thought they were going to really get hurt, right? But then they got all their bribes into the right people, and now the bribes are legal. So then they got all the money and then some back. But you guys lost. Think about this. Okay, like the $16 trillion in your house's worth, that devastated the middle class, and it hit Black and Latino communities the worst. Okay, and we've done segments proving out the numbers behind that, and the amount of money that the average Black household lost because of that, because of the crash, was heartbreaking, right? But Trump sits there in his literal tower. You know, they complain about ivory towers. He's got a Trump tower where he goes, I kind of hope it does crash. I hope you lose all your money because then I'll make a couple of extra bucks, right? But on top of all that, what really got to me, and I hadn't seen that number before, John, the $2 trillion in retirement savings. Yeah. You had planned to retire off that. Now you got to eat cereal 2 out of 3 meals. And while that guy in his tower laughs at you, and some of you, as you're eating that mac and cheese and the cereal and the bologna sandwich for every day for the whole month, because you lost your retirement savings or you lost a big chunk of it, and you can't do any of the things that you had imagined, you're going to turn around and vote for the guy who was hoping that would happen.